manipulative, deceitful, and shamelessly pursuing sex. But there's more to Krishna's character than being a bad woman.
Chutiam sulfate.
From the 1950s to 80s, the bad woman in Bollywood wore sexy Western outfits and colored wigs, smoked, drank, and danced in bars. She stood for everything immoral and was presented as attractive but not worthy of an audience's approval. Popularly known as the vamp, she was modeled after the French femme fatale, who used her sexuality to manipulate others. She would chase after and seduce the hero, often leading him into a fallen life of drinking and crime. Either she was driven by malicious intents or by a toxic love that was selfish and destructive. The vamp was the antithesis to the heroine, or the Adarsh Bharatiya Nari, whose love and place in the hero's life were threatened by the vamp's tempting presence. In the 80s, globalization began to change the ideal of the modern Indian woman. She wore fashionable Western clothes and wasn't afraid to go after what she wanted, as long as Papa approved. She was the perfect mix of traditional and modern values. This change affected the portrayal of the vamp. She became less of an evil exaggeration and more relatable. But when the bad girl married the hero, her bold, expressive demeanor suddenly turned modest. In the 2000s, this portrayal changed further as the internet boom played a big role in increasing the consumption of global films. New kinds of cinema catering to urban audiences brought elements of the bad and the good closer together in the writing of female characters. Women being open with their sexuality, partying, and drinking became more acceptable. The bad girl went from being seen as immoral to being the badass girl, liberated from ideals of the past. And it is at this point in time that Krishna from Ishqiya enters the picture. In several interviews, Vidya Balan, who played the character, calls Krishna the bad woman.
She's a very real person like any one of us. We all have our grey shades, you know.
Using the garb of an innocent widow, she ends up simultaneously seducing two small-time thieves who take shelter in her house in a bid to convince them to plot a kidnapping for her own gain. But she isn't just using her sexuality without tainting her body, as the heroine is sometimes known to do. She has the loose morals of a bad woman, as she lets herself get seduced by Babban, the younger of the two thieves, and ends up sleeping with him. If Krishna were written in the 50s or 80s, she would have been judged as the vamp for qualities that put her in the bad books of the viewer. But in this movie, her actions are given meaning. We see the motivations behind why she does what she does. Using her sexuality to get her way makes her clever and not immoral. And in the ultimate twist, she gets the ending that is usually reserved for the heroine, being rescued by the hero. She is rescued by not one, but by both the heroes she seduced. And even though they're the ones who save her life, the ultimate revenge of blowing up the villain, her husband, is reserved for this bad woman to take on. She used her sexuality. She loved the heroes for all the wrong reasons. She had no good values or morality, but we loved and even rooted for Krishna. And through Krishna, we saw all the bad women we'd known on screen in an entirely new light.